I lied. There we are.
Alright, so something that we all think about is what others think about us. So I know it's happened to everyone. Everyone always wonders or thinks like, oh, I wonder what they're thinking about me. You know, when we're standing up here, like, oh, what do they think about me? And so that leads into my quote. Yeah, well, you know, that's just like Your Opinion, Man, by Jeff the Dude Lebowski. And I agree with this quote because if we thought about what everyone thinks about us, you know, we wouldn't get anything done because we'd just be wanting to please everyone. And by doing that, we'd be like, oh, well, I should do this to please him. But then if I do that, that might not please this other person. And I can only think about one example right now. That's I was gonna go to a soccer game, and I was inviting my friends, and one of them said that he would go, but he had to leave early because he had work. And so it was like taking him would please him because he'd be able to hang out with all of us, but then I wouldn't be able to please my other friends because we'd all have to leave early because I was the only one giving them a ride. So I just told them, I was like, I'm not taking you because that's just gonna kill the experience for everyone else. So that's the only example I have for caring about others' opinions. That, you know, maybe he thought I was being rude to him, but you know, it had to be done because it was like 5 of us and we were all gonna lose out on the experience just because of one dude. And so it was one of those times where you just don't have to care about what they have to think about you. And I mean, we're still friends, and so you have to do what you have to do sometimes. Yeah.
All right, well, I like the start of the presentation. I thought you had a reasonable statement to get us started, and you kind of tied it in with the quote reasonably well, pretty well. You do limit yourself immediately by suggesting that you just have the one example, so I understand that. That is kind of a preview, but it does mean that there's not really any substructure. It's just going to be the one thing that you're talking about. But I thought you gave us pretty good detail on the one story that you had. I'm sure that you'll think of another story in about 30 seconds as soon as I'm done talking and say, oh, I could have said that. But these, you know, the story that you told was pretty effective, and it came back to the point at the end of the speech. I like the phrase that you said, sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. That's fine. The yeah tag at the end, I think, is a little bit problematic. It makes it sound like you were just giving up instead of, you know, that was the point that you were trying to make. The presentation issues, I think everything is perfectly satisfactory. You could be a little bit more engaging in some ways, but there was nothing that was problematic. Your voice and your tone and your pacing were all pretty solid. Your facial expressions, again, I think they're okay. You do a pretty good job looking at the audience for the most part. Gestures, there was a little bit of an odd thing. You have a tendency to hold your arm with your other hand, and that's just kind of the position that you go back to. It looks a little defensive, and I think you could be more engaged with your gestures. Body posture was fine. You're facing the audience for the most part. There's nothing, again, problematic there. So everything's solid. The content, it would be nice if you had another example so that it feels less like it's just the one random example, although that'll be perfect for the final impromptu that we're doing, because I'm only going to ask you to come up with one example, so that would be perfectly fine for that one. But this one was supposed to be a little bit more substantive, and there wasn't quite as much there. Okay, thank you.